So for today, it's our last session, the expert circle. As you see, I have some camera problems, but I will come back soon in a minute with my laptop and join the expert circle. But I hand over to Florian, Ragnar, and Benjamin. Benjamin has a very, very great session, and we had some open question about permission. But yeah, it was so much content. I need to go to bed after that expert circle. It was so much. Perhaps we can start with permissions in Teams and SharePoint, and I'll be back in 1 minute. So see you in 1 minute.
All right. Hey guys, nice to meet you. Welcome to Expert Circle. So I'll take over until Christian is back. My name is Florian. I'm with Solutions to Share. I was the host of the second track today. With me is Ragnar, MVP from Germany, and Benjamin Niaulin. I'm sorry, Benjamin, you're an MVP too, are you?
Yes.
So, MVPs in the expert circle, that's how it needs to be. Yeah, Christian just told us that you've talked about the permissions in general. What we have experienced in the last months is that a lot of companies jumped to Teams with COVID, and now, like months later, are saying, "Oh, there is something in the background of Teams, and we've never taken a look at it." How do you experience this? Is there a good strategy for companies, or is it just hard work to do it afterward? Or what would you say?
Yeah, I mean that's what we covered a bit in the session. Is there's a lot of work to just understand. The first step is to understand behind Teams is not Teams. It's Office 365 groups or it's SharePoint, and just managing permissions isn't just managing Teams permissions. It's really going into Azure Active Directory potentially and putting in place access reviews. It's potentially going into the admin centers to manage SharePoint separate from Teams, separate from something else. So the first trick is really understanding, I find, the layers, and then you can go into these different policies that you put in place, and then the more advanced can go directly into governance and automating some processes with sensitivity labels, information protection, information barriers. But that's, to me, there's the first steps. It's just understanding owners, members, guests, and SharePoint attached to it. That's what we're seeing.
On which
Ben,
level?
that sounds to me that we need the good old information architecture back. So would you recommend your customers and consultants to write information architecture documents? Or would you say, listen, that's completely a new picture, we need to rewrite everything,
I think,
so let's design
well, personally, and I'll just talk for me personally, yes and no, in the sense I don't think anyone's going to read the documents, not in today's world where we're with technology and connected to everything all the time. It's more about congratulations on the video, and it really is about creating a sort of using technology to put the information architecture into amazing lighting background effects.
Product change it so
yeah. So really is how can we use technology? One of the features that I like at Microsoft out of the box, but the only thing I don't like is that it requires that you upgrade your licensing, is access reviews. So you don't have to put a document and write about how this should be used. It's automated, and it leverages. I'm a big pro. I gotta say this. I like to promote group owners participating more and more with the activities of IT, but controlled by IT, because as technologies, everyone's using it, everyone's sharing, everyone's creating. We're trying to make sure people have access to everything. So when you want to know if this guest user is still okay, should still be there, and I say guest, it could be a regular user, it's better the owners check for you and tell you that they checked it. So yeah, I'm rambling. I'll let you discuss it.
How would you? So you already mentioned sensitivity labels, and for a lot of companies that's completely new and they haven't taken even a look into what it's possible. Is there a way between getting out the sledgehammer and smash everything with sensitivity labels and not doing it? Is there, because there's so much to know about it, where would you start, or where would you suggest to start when it comes to creating M365 groups and label them?
That's a good question. I think provisioning is probably a good start, is to start from today, the sites that get created from now on, to have some kind of process that can probably ease into the new, so that you can just choose what to dive into, and only with the new groups that are created. And I say groups, teams, for those that see it as teams. But I mean, that's one way of doing it. Otherwise, it's quick processes, reports that are automated, checked with owners. Again, access reviews, big fan of that one. There, because I'm talking about permissions and sharing coming out of my session right now, but there's many other things. Sensitivity labels go beyond just access as well. So that's really, for me, sensitivity labels, the way I categorize it is, yeah, manual, everything is a bit kind of chaotic, everybody does everything. Then you go to settings, so admin centers, putting properties in place, allowing people to do stuff, not do stuff. And then you go into automation, and that's governance, sensitivity levels. So that's the progress that I see. I don't know what you guys see.
I would agree with you, Ben, but I would start a little bit more high level by really going through the European going through the GDPR and really see, you know, which kind of content do we need to archive, which kind of content do we need to delete. For example, if I would apply for a job at Solutions to Share or ShareGate, and I would get the job, then everything needs to be stored for 9 years. If I wouldn't get the job, everything what I have applied needs to be deleted after 6 months. And all these rules about deletion and archiving are defined in GDPR, but also are industry specific. So it can be that a industry, that a chemical company in Switzerland has got different rules than a bank in Germany. So first I would start on a country focused level, industry focused level, and then see which regulation rules are applying, and then coming back to you, and then it's your turn to talk about provisioning and all the technical stuff. But this would be a helpful start.
Yeah, I think there's just basic things sometimes you can put in place, right? So just changing the default sharing hyperlink so that it's not anyone in the company, and just changing the default to specific people, or, you know, choosing guests are you know, allowed or not allowed by default, and then you have a little form to request guests. That is quick and easy, but just to control a little bit. But then, of course, the best way is what you propose, is to go from the need and then bring it down. It's just, sometimes I see stuff, and it's you know, I was looking at some of the telemetry that we have, and I can't even imagine some of the customers that are not things that we see at Microsoft. And we see things like the number of groups created per day and the number of files added per day. It's astronomical.
I have a question that I'm sorry, Christian.
Yeah, Benjamin, he showed in his session the difference between sharing things, and the people, they do not know that they are sharing a link with a key in it. Nobody knows that. So, you know, if we discuss that problem, so the normal user in front of his Teams environment, he will never know that there is a link. Nobody will check the link. Oh, is there a token in it? Let's check. Yeah, that will not happen. And you have to make some settings that it's so easy that the user, that they understand what they are doing, because now it's like a labyrinth where you go somewhere and nobody knows what they are doing. And if you have a report and you see the chaos or the problems, it's too late. Yeah, so you need like Azure Active Directory plan, whatever, that you have like the prevention that the shit is not happening. But then you pay like $7.25 a user a month. I think it's in European in Europe, is it like €7.25? And yeah, that's a lot. And yeah.
Is it so? If we speak about permissions and in general, what is allowed to do, probably guests are a huge part of it with Microsoft. And this always brings up, at least in the last couple of weeks, the shared channels thing. Is there, I have to be honest, I'm not completely aware of how they really will look like. Have you guys some more intel that you could share? So can I add really everybody to my tenant? Do they need to be like pre-agreed to my tenant? Is it just for already existing guests? Can you say something to this?
Yeah, I can jump into it a little bit. I don't know. At this point, I don't even know what's shared, what's not shared. It's supposed to come out really very soon now, finally. I talked about in my session just now, I showed a video of what it will be like for the end user. In terms of settings, not much has been shared, but we do know that there's different layers. So you can, as a company, you can say only these companies are approved. So you can set it up so that it's very restricted, to the best of my knowledge there. Or you can specify that it's open, and you can just like guests can be managed currently. So currently you can say, I want to invite any guest, and then they come in. Well, you can say, I want to share my channel with any email. That person will just access it via, will see it in their teams.
Even if you're not a guest.
Even if you're not a guest, yeah. Well, the concept is that they become a person that have access to just that channel. But share channel is not just for externals, right? Share channel is also like internal, to share one channel with someone inside of the company. So this feature is so broad, and the impact is quite a bit chaotic, because there's also what it creates behind the scenes for SharePoint. And in short, the best will be to see it in live production because they only shared us some bits and pieces, but there's a lot of controls that go into it because of enterprise customers specifically.
The year 2022 will be the year where we rewrite all our governance concepts from the last 5 years, because now everything changed.
Yeah.
But okay.
It's huge impact. It's huge impact, yeah. What I would like to know from you, I've never asked this question before. Maybe you, let's see which answer you're giving. In Yammer, we also have this concept of shared Yammer groups, so that you can share Yammer, and then the Yammer community would be part of your own tenant. And this never really worked. So it was a mixture of zero acceptance and an unmajor product. Do you think that it's going to be better now in Teams, because the idea and the philosophy is actually the same of embedding an external group into my home tenant?
It's at least
I'm not really sure if because this is on the one hand, now with Teams it looks more sophisticated, but on the other hand you need this cultural change, which was not possible in the good old Yammer times. But I'm not really sure if companies are ready now for this huge change.
At least they wait for it. So the customer feedback is really that they've read it somewhere and they're like, oh yeah, we're waiting for it. Are you already, they ask a lot of questions. And I think as teams somehow more engaged in collaboration in a nicer place than it used to be in SharePoint or Yammer, maybe that makes it more accessible for such kind of features.
Yeah. So personally, I love it because I always see the risk that internally we collaborate perfectly, but externally we are still writing emails and sending attachments and so on. So I see a huge improvement in the way how we collaborate with our partners and customers and vendors. So I'm very enthusiastic. On my business side, I'm also interested to see how migrations and backups are going to work with Teams Connect. So that's also very interesting from the perspective which Ben and myself are carrying. But yeah, let's see. It's going to be a huge change, but it's not only a technical change, but also a huge impact on governance, compliance, and culture, and adoption and change management.
Guys, we do have 2 questions from the audience. I would say we yeah, jump right into it. I'm sorry to interrupt. Christian?
Yeah.
We answered the first question in the comments. Oh, wow, there's a feature for this. Very nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We need that in team. Yeah, so everyone can read the question, and yeah, I think the question is that they don't hire an M365 admin and they share the role with 3 IT admins, and they do not want to miss anything. And so I remember the last session, Benjamin, I know you're in the M365 or SharePoint business quite a while, like me and Florian, and it's hard for us to miss a thing. And because it's so much, and I think that I would say hire some consultants. There are consultants everywhere in the US or in Canada, yeah, and write your own concept and make a review, because you will miss something. And if
it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's
your turn, Ben.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's the delay of AirMeet probably. It's a tough one to answer, because I understand you're medium sized, so there's budget restrictions. They're not probably putting a ton of people inside IT. There's a lot of things IT is doing. They're managing Azure or AWS, maybe the apps that other people are running on. There's access to the laptops, the remote work, and everything that brought in. Probably HR's contacting them right now as well, because they want to do things now that everything's remote. So it's a really difficult situation if you have not one person dedicated. What we're seeing, I'm seeing more and more is an IT person that's dedicated for productivity. So they're more analyzing the business needs and what they need, and then they go implement the right things. But there's so many different layers, right? Because there's the technology and what you allow and what you do not allow. So what, in terms of admin centers, settings, and that's almost a full-time job. And then there's the structure of your intranet. And that's also kind of technical, but not, which do you use hub sites to connect your sites? How, when do you use, so the consultant idea is a really good one. Otherwise, perhaps there's online training to guide kind of the usage. Otherwise, it's hard to do it part-time, I'll be honest. But I'll let others jump in. I find it hard.
It's definitely the case. So we are in a company in Solutions to Share that grew and not that much, like 50, 60 people. And it's so necessary to control what happens in the company, because there's so many things you need to take care of. And it can't be done with somebody that basically has a different job than taking care of it. It's hard. Even if you say, okay, I do a setup, and this setup consists the next 2 years, you will basically need to make changes because Microsoft makes changes. Yeah. Okay. Next question.
Yeah.
So perhaps for me, what is medium-sized company in the US or North America? Is it like 100 people or 50 people? What is medium-sized in the US? It's like 500 people.
Canada, please.
Yeah, I'm Canada. I'm not US. No,
that's the reason why he's not answering.
I was thinking about it. Usually, medium is already quite. I would say, usually 1,000 employees. We still kind of considered sometimes in the small medium. So my guess is over 1,000, but not too much over. But I think using these terms is always, it depends on who's saying it, what it represents for them there. But 3 IT admins, I would say probably 500 employees, or close to 500. I don't know. I'm speaking for Tina, really.
Laura, if you're still watching.
Not Tina, Laura. Yeah.
And then, we have a better idea. So
Oh, 1,000. There you go.
1,000. Yeah. All right.
Okay,
So
so
Florian,
there was another.
could you please get back to the question? I forgot it already.
Yeah. No. Oh, Christian lost connection. Now he's back again. Okay, let me read this out. In an organization I used to work with an E5 license with Teams, it was recommended not to use files to store all our documents, but instead SharePoint. The Files tab was repository for files in the chat. Where is it better to get users to save it? To save their
I can jump
document.
in because we just covered it in the session. I don't know if they're recorded. I would recommend going back into the session because I covered that. But essentially, if you're talking about Teams chat, the files are in OneDrive. But since you're talking about the Files tab, I'm assuming you're talking about Teams Team. So the Files tab is already SharePoint. So you may have been recommended to not use this tab because there's historically been just people putting any files during conversations. When they're adding files in the chat, it goes in this repository called Files, but it really is SharePoint. It's just often we associate this place with unstructured data. So we're just chatting, I'm putting an image because it's a funny image and it goes into the Files tab. And most of the time people don't actually take the time to structure this Files tab, and it's just a bunch of files everywhere. But technically, you can click open in SharePoint at the top of the Files tab, and you will see that it will open the full SharePoint site where all the files that are in the Files tab are. So it's not really good or bad. The reason why they recommended not to is first, in the past, the Files tab had a reduced version of SharePoint in terms of what it could do. Today, that's not the case anymore. We really more separated for structured versus unstructured. I don't know what you guys, Florian or Ragnar.
And Tina, if you have some issues to find the files which are stored in several teams, you might want to talk to Florian and to Christian. They have a solution for this. But this is also my recommendation. So please make use of Teams channels. I've read studies which really tell that like of 10 conversations, 8 conversations are happening in chats and only 2 are happening in channels. That means that so much knowledge is just locked in Teams chats, where the documents are stored in OneDrive. And this would be, if we would say that, oh, listen, we are so happy that we are moving away from email conversation now to Teams. No, it's actually not so much better, because everything would be stored in chats and in OneDrive. And from the acknowledgement point of view, it's not a huge progress. So I really recommend first make Teams channel conversations by default, where everything is stored nicely in SharePoint, and only if it's really private and it shouldn't be shared by your team, then use chats. But really, and I'm talking to myself literally, we are overusing chats.
Yes, definitely. That's so. It's actually one of the first things we do when we do like things like governance workshops. We check out the activity in the admin center of the teams and how many chats there are and how many posts in the channels there are, to see how far developed the company is in using Teams properly. Because if you do everything in chat, you're basically back in Skype for Business times, and that helps nobody. So we would
no progress.
It just
looks modern. It looks beautiful, but it's no progress.
Yeah, but and also in terms of adoption, you want to use Teams and you want to leverage this tool. And one of the biggest strengths of this tool is that everybody has the same information and can work with it. And chats are going like back to the time where you have a one-on-one conversation and nobody else knows what you've talked about. And this is definitely not what Teams is for. It's to work together and share information.
There is a very nice question, and group chats are our kind of guerrilla teams. But there is one cool thing. Alexander Eggers, he made the Teams news in the morning or in the afternoon here in Europe. He gave me an advice that if you have like a team for project conversation and you can create like a group chat as well, And in the group chat, you can do that daily business stuff, and the very important stuff you can chat in the general channel, that you have all the information structured, but you have that group chat which has to which you have that the people in the project are not chatting by themselves in a one-on-one chat. And I tried it in one project. That was a really great idea, but perhaps we can bring the people direct to the general channel. But yeah, what do you think about that?
I never heard this recommendation, but this is really a nice advice. I definitely have to look and search if it makes sense in my daily life. But what I'm using specially dedicated group chats, because in my Teams meetings, people are just losing access. So there is a really nasty and ugly behavior of Teams that at a certain time, when the Teams meeting is over, people are removed from the chat and they cannot chat back again. Even if it's a issue fix, they cannot answer anymore. That's the reason why I'm also creating group chats, because they are more persistent than the Teams chats. So in my opinion, this is just a very ugly kind of design, because Teams is designed for making chats persistent. Full stop.
Is there a way to get the group chats with Teams API that you can make a governance concept over group chats as well? I thought about that 1 year ago, but then, business.
Write it down, Christian, and then tomorrow you're not going to forget it, because that sounds like a very important thing.
We had looked into it, but it's a complete Teams chat and then Teams team, 2 different products. Even for us, and just migration, so just reading messages and then copying them, it's not the same. It's not even the same technology. It looks the same to people, but behind the scenes, it's so the answer is yes. There's APIs, you can build stuff, but it's a whole other beast. Which means that if you want it to work for Teams team and work for Teams chat, you're building 2 different solutions completely.
It's Exchange API, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Now, no one gives you access to the Exchange API. So. Okay. Yeah, cool. So same problem, different continent. So if someone has another question for us, that would be very nice. I like that format. And if not, we can talk about something else. We have like 15 minutes left. Then it's very late here in Europe. I make the feedback session then, and you can give us feedback with that QR code, and that's it for today. But perhaps someone has a question from previous sessions. That's correct. I made a photo, really old school with my phone, and now I read it from the phone.
You made a photo of your screen?
Yeah, Benjamin, he was really on time. Yeah, he was 2 minutes before the session was ready. He said, "Oh, I'm ready." Okay, Tammy wants to go to the stage. Yeah, try it. We have a question from the last session. Is it possible to create MS Teams Admin Center custom roles?
Not that I know.
No, I think there was a question that someone wants to make just one group which can create teams, but that you can configure PowerShell.
Yeah,
you define one group and you deactivate the group creation, but then you have no group creation, no team creation, no group creation, no group creation at all. That's quite a problem, but we do that often. Let's have a look if there was another question. There was another question about if it's a good idea to change the permission for the contributor group in SharePoint, that they cannot delete lists and libraries. You said
that used to be my answer back in the days, but then I said in the session, we no longer do this. We try to stay away from customizing the permission levels, because Microsoft's moving away. They're going to a different direction. And this is still there to support previous customers. but you should not create new permission levels if you could.
You know, the European way to get away from these problems, we designed a product which blocks the SharePoint instead of the SharePoint library and lists.
Yeah.
So Ben, do you mean that I should not delete the default SharePoint groups?
Good idea.
Don't touch at anything. Just use the new
That's worst
experiences.
practice since 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, Tammy, that is not working, but perhaps next time, I think we will do another international team summit beginning from September, but we will see when it is, because Michaela has to organize a lot of summits this year, and it's very stressful to organize summits. Okay, so let's check if there is another question in the Q&A part. I think no, but...
Hey, Michaela, if you can still hear us, thank you so much for organizing it. It's so much work and highly appreciated.
Yeah.
There's another question. Can I globally create a SharePoint page tab for all users in Teams channel? I think you mean other than the Files tab.
Can I globally create a SharePoint page tab for all users in a Teams channel? So, I mean, if I understand the question correctly, the answer is yes. I guess the word globally is what I'm worried I don't understand the question properly, but inside of a channel, there's tabs. Whatever tabs you add there are going to be for everyone that have access to this channel. So as soon as you put a new tab there, that's a SharePoint page. Everyone that has access to this channel will have access to this page. And then since a page is something that's stored inside of SharePoint, you can control the permission of that object regardless, however you want. I hope I answered the question.
It works on SharePoint Online, and it also works on SharePoint on-premise, so you could also, in theory, add a SharePoint on-premise page to it.
But check if the people has permissions, because if it works in one team and you have that page in that team and you just get the link out of the page and copy it to another team, people has no access.
Yeah, I like to have a separate communication site for where I store the pages, and then I'll add them. So remember, in my session, I did the me, we, us. So everything that's more us, so pages that are going to be for the whole company or communication, I will put in communication sites. And then if a place like a Teams needs to link to it, then at least I know the permissions are good because it's at the communication side level, and I usually put it read-only to everybody there.
Good point.
So, okay, we see it's very late in Europe. We are only like 40 people now, and I think that's all for today, because I have to show some slides and then it's midnight here. So first, thank you, Michaela, for organizing, and of course all the speakers, and Benjamin, Ragnar, and Florian. Thank you very much.
Thank
for Florian
you very
and
much.
Ragnar. Thanks.
Available as well if anybody has questions. Always. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And thank you for being up so late, because it's very hard here. But yeah, it was really fun, and we had to see some great feedback that it was nice content. And I think we will be back in September or October, and we will see how it goes. So thank you very much, Expert Circle. I will head up to my PowerPoints on my laptop, not on my very nice setup. I prepared the whole day. And yeah, we will see next time that it works better.
Cheers.
Okay.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Then the last few slides. First of all, thank you to all our sponsors, Solutions to Share, GBS, Amexus, Martello, and the community sponsors, Digital Touch, Teamsphere, and Skybo. It is very, very hard work, and thank you for the support that we can make some ads in Facebook, LinkedIn, and all the other platforms, and that we have all the studio equipment and so on. So we had that leaderboard, and I will make a screenshot at the end of the summit, and then we will contact you with email, because of course we have all your email addresses, and we will send you the gift cards. We will have a look to the winner, of course. Thank you very much for that engagement and all the feedback and the comments and the Q&A. It was a lot of fun today. And here is it, the feedback tab. Please take your phone, open the photo app, and give us a short feedback for the summit. That would be very helpful for us. For every feedback, you will receive a €25 or $25 Amazon gift card, because for us it's very, very helpful to get feedback that we can make the next International Team Summit better. So if you want to give us feedback tomorrow, just save the QR code with a screenshot, or on your phone with your phone camera. You can give us feedback the whole week, and yeah, that's it. It would be very helpful, and I'm very thankful for that. And of course, if you want to have a look on any sessions today, we will prepare the videos the next 2 or 3 weeks, and we will upload the videos day by day. So don't miss any videos. Subscribe our YouTube channel. It's M365 Circle. You see it here. Just type it in your YouTube search bar, and then you can subscribe. Okay, that's it. The next summit is on May the 3rd. It's a German-speaking summit, so only for our German-speaking area, but we will be back soon. So don't miss any summit. We will inform you with your email addresses, and I think it will be in the second half of the year. So that's it for today. The International Team Summit, it was very, very nice, and I hope we will see you next time at the summit. And please use the QR code or the link on the right side in the chat and give us feedback, because that is so, so helpful for us. Okay, let's have a look on the leaderboard to make some congratulations. So the first place goes to Laura Gariano with 2,140 points. Congratulations. The second place goes to Panida, and with 2,030 points. Congratulations too. And the third place goes to Daniel König with 1,858. And of course, from 3 to 10, we will send gift cards as well. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much to all the leaders and the contribution to that event. I hope we can bring a new format like this one in Ermit to the North American area, combining with the European area to make an exchange between these two continents. And yeah, see you next time. It was a pleasure to be the host today. And of course, we see us the next time as well. So I say thank you, and thanks to my team, to Michaela, to Xaver, to Paula, and Lasha. It was a really nice summit, and I think it was one of the best summits we did, and of course our first summit in English. So bye-bye, have a nice day, and good night for the European attendees. Bye.